Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. As you can see, I've got a few bits up here. Yeah, I won't go through those. Although, there is an interesting story. When the original Justice League, when the original film came out, I do remember going to see it, walking out of the cinema thinking, wow, that was bad. That was really, really, really bad. And I remember a lot of people grabbed this. This was a free gift from Odeon. I've got 4 of them. Unfortunately, couldn't get the 6. But I remember people posting up pictures of those saying how great it was fantastic, it's such a good film, and oh my god, it's amazing, and they're wrong. It was rubbish. It was absolutely terrible. I was one of these people that kind of said, it's a bad film, let's move on. Let's get past it. Let's go on. Let's just move on from it. I didn't realise something so big would happen, where a lot of people petitioned and asked for the Snyder Cut. Obviously, I'm not going to go into the backstory about what happened with Zack Snyder, but what happened to him was terrible, absolutely terrible. The way, the family issues that happened, awful, and then how it was handled by Warner Brothers, shocking, absolutely shocking. I am so glad for him, for Zack Snyder, that he's been able to release the film that he wanted to release. And in talking with friends about it, I have been saying this is kind of like a double-edged sword. If it comes out and it's good, then it's going to be a disappointment in terms of this is only part 1 and of a potential sort of 2-part Justice League film. Then if it comes out and if it's bad, so much time, what's it been, 4 years? 4 years since the theatrical version. 4 years have gone by, and you've petitioned and you've shouted and you really wanted this to happen, and it comes out and it ends up not being great. Either way, it's kind of a disappointment. I will say to start off, there will be spoilers, so just giving you a heads up. I do think this is a disappointment in terms of this is good and it's disappointing we won't ever get to see that sequel. It is a hell of a lot better than the original Joss Whedon film, without a doubt. This is very good. Very, very, very good. There are some issues, and I've got a lot of talking points here. I've written them down because I didn't want to sort of miss anything. I will say, first of all, obviously it came out today. It's not quite 4 hours, but it is almost. It's 3 hours, or 3 3/4 hours. So it's a long film, but it doesn't feel like it. It's quite a sort of easy going, to be honest. I can understand there's a lot of people that have issues in terms of being slow building, but that's kind of what was necessary. When you look at the films that came before it, there was... what was it? It was Man of Steel, and then Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. So you've introduced Superman. Everyone knows Batman, so you're counting on that. And you've introduced Wonder Woman in Dawn of Justice. For the average sort of everyday public, they're not really going to know Flash. They're not going to know Cyborg. They're not really going to know Aquaman. So there was obviously going to be a fair amount of backstory that's going to need to be done for those characters. And that was one of my biggest gripes of the theatrical cut. You don't feel a connection to the characters. It's a 2-hour film where it's just like, bang, you're into it, go. With Marvel, you got, was it 3 or 4 years, I think, to the build-up of Avengers or something crazy, of these characters. There was that emotional attachment, and there wasn't with DC, with the Justice League. So it was necessary, and it pays off. In my view, it pays off quite a lot. You get a lot of backstory for Cyborg. You get a little bit for Flash and a little bit of Aquaman, and it's what's necessary to drive the characters forward. It's what you need to fully bond with them. You get a little bit of a Flash with his dad, talking about the fact that his dad was wrongfully imprisoned for a murder he didn't commit of his mother. Barry just wants to get in there and try and sort of actually prove his dad's innocence. Along the way, he meets Iris. It shows his difficulty interacting with people, which is a big thing for Barry Allen. He's not a particularly easygoing kind of person. He doesn't form attachments particularly well. So that was kind of well played. I'm not a big fan of Ezra Miller still, but it was well played with that. In terms of Aquaman, you do get a bit of a hint of the backstory, and you get a real setup for the Aquaman film. It talks about his brother trying to take charge. It talks about his brother trying to take the mantle of king. You get Mira in there. I think Mira's more in this than she was in the original cut, but she's pushing for him to come back to the sea and to take the mantle and to be the true heir. You got Willem Dafoe in there, who's also saying the same. So it was, like I said, it was a well-rounded character arc for those two, pushing them into their sort of prospective solo films. Flash, obviously, we're yet to see. Cyborg is where I see the biggest change, though. Obviously, I said you get a bit of backstory of Flash and Aquaman. Cyborg. Zack Snyder said Cyborg is the heart of the film, and I can't disagree. If I remember correctly, the theatrical cut pretty much starts with Cyborg. You do see Cyborg at the beginning of the film as Cyborg, but as you go into it, you get his backstory of what happened to his mum, how his relationship with his father is strained, and what happened to cause that. And you get a lot more of Cyborg as sort of a human, as it were. And there's a lot more for Cyborg to do it's not so much a redemption, because there was nothing for him to be redeemed from, but it's a redemption in his eyes. He feels like he is a monster. He feels like he is sort of not worthy to be living. And by the end of the film, you get that sense of purpose from him. And that was something that was clearly lacking in the original theatrical cut. So family is a big part of this. Obviously, I said about Barry Allen's dad. You've got the brother with Aquaman. It's such a big part of this, and it's just incredible the way that it's done. Another big thing which I really enjoyed was when the eternal flame is lit from Themyscira and fired off to Greece. When Wonder Woman finds it, she actually, I'm pretty sure this is not in the original, she goes into sort of like a hidden part of the temple and finds drawings to Darkseid and everything that sort of leads up to him. So again, there's that build up of what is to come, the scary things that can come to fruition. And like I said, for what is almost a 4-hour film, it didn't feel like it. But it was just so much fun, if I'm honest. There are some issues. CGI, I would say, is one of the big ones. There's a few moments where the CGI doesn't look good, but to be honest, I wouldn't expect anything less. Was it 100 million? I think he might have been given to do the extra bits that he needed to do. And for a film like this, it's not just sort of filming the extra bits. You're having to do like the whole green screen stuff. You're doing everything in the backgrounds. So there was clearly a lot of film, or a lot of things that were shot that just hadn't been rendered. So the touch up on things, the extra long scenes, because of that, some of the CGI doesn't look good. Some of the CGI on Cyborg is a bit iffy. There's a couple of moments in Themyscira when there's like riding of horses, when it looks really jumpy and clunky, which you wouldn't expect from a standard blockbuster film. But because this is not a standard blockbuster film, this is very different. You kind of have to let it off of that. Other than that, Steppenwolf honestly looked fantastic. It's a slightly different from the original version, more of a sort of metal suit. But I think it worked well. He was more of a threatening screen presence, and you got more of a backstory for for Steppenwolf as well. He wasn't just the random bad guy that wants to come to Earth to try and do Darkseid's bidding and he's going to fail. No. There was actual threats that came with this. There was a backstory as well with the character, but he'd failed Darkseid before and he was doing this for redemption. So you're not just fleshing out the heroes, you're fleshing out the villain. And that's what makes a good film, or anything good in media. You need a well fleshed out villain for someone to understand their motives, to then not root for them, but understand where they're coming from, and for them to be a relatable bad guy. So it did incredibly well with that. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I've covered everything. Overall, it was very, very good. Obviously, I'm not going to go as far as saying masterpiece like some people do say about Zack Snyder's films, but it was good. It, like I said, it is long. I think it's like 6 parts. 6 parts. It's like 5 parts plus an epilogue. Doesn't feel like it. I'm gonna be honest, I could have done without the title cards. I don't like seeing part 1, part 2, part 3. Get rid of that. And I hope when the DVD version comes out they do get rid of that, because there's no need for it. Just have the continuing film. There's a few bits in there, like I said, this is a spoiler review, there's a few bits in there that were just fantastic. You do get to see Harry Lennox's Martian Manhunter, which I was kind of surprised by, despite the fact that I knew it was coming, I was surprised by. There is also a fantastic battle scene where you see Darkseid on Earth for the first time, and they show a Green Lantern in it as well. And it was so good to see a Green Lantern fighting with Atlanteans and Themyscirans, and man, that was probably one of my favourite scenes, if I'm honest. But overall, incredibly enjoyable, and I have to just say, well done for everyone for taking part in this. Congratulations to Zack Snyder. Very good. I don't know where we go from here, though. Unfortunately, I think this does mess up the DC continuity, but we kind of knew they were scrapping and kind of starting again anyway. I do hope at some point we get to find out what was going to happen in the sequel. But if we don't, I guess the Snyder fans will take that as a win, and fair play to them. Well done, and yeah, it was enjoyable, guys. If you have watched the Zack Snyder Justice League film, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really, really does help me out, and I'll see you all in the next video.